Vinland Saga proposes the question, what is it that makes a person truly happy? Friends? Enemies to challenge, or neither? Is living a fulfilling existence simply enough to consider being happy? Because in every scene of this anime, you're questioning the very basis by which you foundate these ideologies. It alters your perspective on not just yourself, but the world, its interactions, and the minor things you never realized were important before. Why do we cherish these beliefs so dearly? Are we inherently trying to push back the deception and selfishly acknowledge a subjective truth? Vinland Saga's true meaning and psychological development lie in its deep, conceptual, and self-identifying nature. An anime where you have no indication on morality. The only way to understand is to project and immerse yourself within the abundant cast of thematically deep characters. Vinland Saga's premise is about a boy named Thorfinn who learns about the dark truths of the world. As a young kid, obviously they would comply and accept these truths. Instead of challenging these beliefs, they have been incarcerated onto them. Thorfinn was thrust into conflict and forced to use whatever tools he could to preserve his own life. It is this fear of death that later on allows him to understand a human's true nature. Aslad, his mentor, teaches and evolves Thorfinn as a character, instilling resilience, pride, and a sense of justice within him, which is personally why Askeladd is one of my favourite characters in Vinland Saga. Despite all the tribulations in the life of Thorfinn, he comes out on top, but at what cost? And here is where this work of art truly transcends. It lies within the foreshadowed development of Thorfinn, his journey, his lessons, his transformation. This is what defines the story, the path of finding enlightenment, the path towards a true cause. The questioning of such profound things are present within the second season of the show, and is where Thorfinn begins to find himself amongst all the resent and regret he had amassed from being ruthless in his previous identity. His sense of morality blossoming as he started empathizing and suffering at the thoughts of others' suffering, garnering relatability in his actions. Thorfinn's relationship with Einar exemplifies their gratitude despite being in a desperate position. They both look to the future as a symbol of hope, not one of malice and anxiety. Thorfinn learns to control his emotions, anger, sadness, and happiness, which are reserved for when they are needed, and uses a more logical approach to dictate his own decisions, naturally becoming a less compulsive and more down-to-earth person. Finally learning that pain only breeds more pain in the end, turning Thorfinn into a more optimistic and enjoy life type of man, instead of a gutless, goal-orientated warrior. It is all these changes and more that set the themes of Vinland Saga, and depicts the truly special nature. The characters are the driving attributes of the story. Without them, the world would seem dull. This anime makes you both synchronistically fearful and inspired at Thorfinn's journey after each contributing change that is made in his life. Another scene I truly learned from was when Thorfinn interacted with Canute after all those years of being isolated as a slave. Canute had pity, but Thorfinn wanted to rectify his previous mistakes by taking the pain of others in the form of physical punishment. In this world where man is self-centered and the world revolves around the views you possess, naturally a less open-minded world would be more manipulative, ego-driven, and hurtful. Thorfinn's actions choose to rectify the broken nature of everyone and take the pain of another, acknowledging others and advocating for a peaceful resolute instead of directly forcing your ideals upon another. Thorfinn only comes to the revelation in his mind once he is confronted by the person he was. Fighting back this scene represents the juxtaposition of morality, but also what is objectively wrong and subjectively right to another will differentiate from someone else's perspective. Him fighting himself is not just good versus evil, but the right way to live versus perpetual regret. This scene has an exceptional amount of symbolism, which is why it is so important to the overall character of Thorfinn. Vinland Saga doesn't just go based off a simple premise, instead serving to convey deeper and more nuanced messages as a lesson. By allowing you to relate to the character's struggle, it makes you intrigued at what developments are going to be made. The show intelligently weaves all this into the plot by making you captivated at each direction and place the characters visit. Every character introduction is essentially a new story waiting to be unraveled. The true meaning of Vinland Saga makes you think more introspectively about yourself and why the characters are so determined. You feel like you must understand the missing pieces, which is why I personally find this show so addicting and the lore so alluring. Its rich storyline, vibrant cast and locations, amongst immaculate foreshadowing, is what enhances the viewing experience to another level beyond the typical anime or manga. So, what can we learn from Vinland Saga? And why is it so masterful at penetrating your emotions? Well, the lessons taught are simple. Make no one different from yourself, regardless of beliefs. Acknowledging these beliefs is a part of what makes us human, and we would never truly cooperate without it. Thorfinn teaches us that change is inevitable no matter what. It's how you execute that change that contributes to the person you will become, and what desire you gain from such a realization. Overall, Vinland Saga is a collectively inspirational piece of work that will be generationally remembered for its meaningful antithesis in Thorfinn, plot, character, philosophical profoundness, and how it teaches you valuable lessons in the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and as always, peace!